Brothers and sisters, generals, salute, spell breakers, as Lord Lamont say. Welcome to another EBX and Lord Lamont show. Thus, EBX discussion. And salute to Lord Lamont, one's family, and a current subscriber, new subscriber, anybody that view. I salute you and thank you. And may that great divine just be in our life, keep us strong, and keep us prospering. As I always got to do, I honor thy ancestor, because honor the righteous ancestors who were generals. Now, got to put emphasis on that. That's why you hear me always say the righteous, those who meant well from the soul, and some that maybe just got caught up, but our ancestors far and near, younger or older, that were generals that fought, man, so very hard to get many of us in that great divine space that we are in. So be thankful if we are in a place of full on awakening. Salute. Male or female, brother or sister, man, that was a general for us, and got many of us in that great divine space that we are in. Forever thankful, and keep forging forward. A lot of things going on out here, and that's why I like to step back sometimes. Of course, taking care of things and keeping that fortress strong, within and without, but that within is always important. As you always hear our greatest philosophers say, again, salute to those who've been riding along. Remember, we're leaders and teachers. We ain't no damn followers. Remember, we're the student spirit. So keep that in one's soul, and salute to one's biological children, divine children. Same with family, and we keep that vibration. Remember that divine righteous realm. We keep it protected. It starts with ourselves, children, family, significant other. Work our way out, because remember, we got generals and soldiers in the mix of that realm, and that can be brother, sister, family, in the world, online. Remember, we got to keep a wide open scope, see above and beyond, these little toxic spaces that these evil entities of this world that think they have power. That's why I call them the weakest that be, to try to keep us in, So thank those that's been coming in, and again, salute to my children, biological and divine. Salute to Lord Lamont, which we'll be having a discussion, if not Friday or Saturday. I might wait till Saturday, and got to get some time in with Ethan, and I'm gonna do that Friday. I'm gonna do some things with him, because I didn't get a chance to get with him last Friday. So gotta stay consistent, King Ethan, so. And with all children, that I've come in contact with, be thankful that great divine has put a purpose in our heart. It's wonderful, because not everybody, everybody gets that call, just not everybody listens. That's my theory, but be thankful if we are listening to that divine voice deep, deep in the belly of our souls. So let's get into it, brothers and sisters. As you can see on the thumbnail and or banner, let's get into it. When that great divine deploys its soldier angels, it's on and popping. You can't stop it. You know what I'm saying? Y'all know I love rhyming. And I'll get into it. Of course, we know Michael Jai White played in this movie called The Spawn. That's what this is. And I'll get into why I chose this for the banner and or thumbnail. And let's get to the banners. My strong general spell breakers. Divine protects its generals. Notice I said it's, because it's a being. It's the most powerful thing we'll ever experience in life. And things are coming. I remember a podcast my son and I did, Lord Lamont, and we talked about how life is like a full circle, and we were incorporating our own lives, because again, we had a separation where I hadn't seen him in a long time, man. And things back around and look at us now. But we've talked about that, how we reunited and hadn't seen him in a while and worked out our differences. And but when we got to cling to that divine spirit within, the written, that righteous voice within. I'm telling you, it's just so many things will come about. We'll no longer, coincidences won't even be in our vocabulary. Things, divine order, principles, that's what we come into when we step over and we get serious and we step over into that spiritual world. And divine will protect its generals, because we feel it, and it's wonderful, and we just flow naturally like Mama Nature, because Mama Nature is a part of it too. Nature is a part of everything, so yep. So yeah, I chose this on the banner. Again, I'll get into it. And salute to Michael Jai White, which is one of my favorite martial artists. I like him as an actor, as a person, and as a martial artist, and as a philosopher, because he's a very deep, intelligent brother. And I really liked him in this movie. And as I do, when you become analytical and you kind of observe a little more as we get up in levels of awareness or age, as I learned from a great brother, Professor Griff, salute. When anything we look at, but we gonna stop on movies. We begin to look in them and not just at it. Like my son and I, Lord Lamont, discuss. I study things now. I study movies. I get my little entertainment and fun, but that analytical part of us will always be there. That curious. That deep thinking. Especially when you've come into new knowledge and you've changed old ways of thinking, and you're starting to see that a lot of things have been lies we've been told throughout the decades. That's what we're seeing, that full circle. But I studied this movie, Spawn, and it tells a story. And again, I'm gonna get into it. But again, salute to Michael Jai White, one of my favorite brothers. And when divine deploys its soldier angels, and what I got on the banner and or thumbnail kind of speaks to that aspect somewhat, and I'm gonna get into how angels were bronze, not pale faced or European. I'm gonna get in that. And even scientists, even white scientists, Caucasian scientists, philosophers have come to this realization. And it's not nothing against other races or nothing like that. It's just a flat out truth. That's what truth is. Truth don't need no excuses. Truth don't need no light. It's a light all of its own. Real talk. So that's why we got so many warriors and generals out here. That truth has just got us glowing, and once we step into that truth and get serious with it, there's no looking back. Once we come into that truth, again, everybody comes to that truth. It's just a matter of what we do with it, So as I love to say, what are we or what are you gonna do when that truth comes for you? Because it comes for all of us, whether it's in our personal lives or something in the world, educational. But right now, we're going to speak on bronze angels, because the depiction of angels is a lie. It's something that's been passed down through generations, putting themselves above other races, the manipulation of the Bible and all that stuff. No, yeah, I'm going to get deep. Yeah, I'm going to get deep, because I used to be a Christian too. But I'm not hating on Christians or talking down on them, because, again, if most black people, if not all, I always got to go back to Malcolm X. We all have been under some kind of conditioning, and that the main conditioning is the Bible. And that's something, rest in peace, George Carlin. He said it's the biggest bullshit story of all time. That's how you get when you just get sick of the bull. I even use Jim Carrey as an example. Look at Jim Carrey today, and he speaks on how our spirit, when we come into truth and we're honest within, it's just certain things we can't tolerate. It make us sick to endure lies, to accept lies. It sickens us, when we're around fake individuals, fake things, person, place, thing. That's what the truth does when you grab a hold onto it and do what we're supposed to do with that truth, like a torch, and pass it out to the world, and impact culture and or humanity. So that's what truth does. And again, we even got Caucasian philosophers and scientists that's coming. It can't be hidden anymore. It's out there. So And it no matter he being scared, what master gonna do. No, it's the truth. Cause even master, so-called master, cause ain't nobody. That's just a figure of speech. Cause a master don't exist, and one who stands up for that ultimate truth. Real talk. So we're gonna get into it. Divine protects its generals when we cling to it. And it's a wonderful space to be, brothers and sisters. And when divine deploys its soldier angels, and nothing can stop it, because a great divine is like the sun. That's why angels were bronze throughout history. If you go down that divine rabbit hole through the history of religion and the Bible and Christianity and all that stuff, again, not beating up on Christianity, because again, most black people, if not all, we all have been through under some kind of conditioning. Again, that Bible was a vital tool that manipulated black people, bronze people, decades upon decades. And a lot of Christians are going to have to come to that realization and do their own deep thinking, and not just from that book. Or if you read the book, go deeper. And I'm going to get into why they didn't want us to read, why they literally took melanated people's lives just for reading. Now ponder that. Getting your life taken just because you know how to read, just because you were seeking, curious. They didn't want us to know that power, but many of us know this now. The melanin is really a powerful thing. Some black people, not all, but some black people don't know how powerful melanin really is. That's why they, evil entities that think they rule the world, that's why they despise melanin so much. That's why they hate black people so much. They know the power in melanin. But as many of us black philosophers say, brother and sister, some of us don't know the power in it and just squandering it, taking it for granted, but be thankful for the soldier angels that's out here and spiritual angels that we can't see. I'm going to get into that, And again, once we step over and get real, step over into that spiritual world, things are not weird or nothing like that. Cosmic things, we're not supposed to understand how that great divine moves. It's the most powerful thing we'll ever experience. We'll just flow with it and we have divine things happen, or things happen that we can't explain. Brother, sister, family, as I always say, study it, analyze it, go deeper, look it up if we have to, whatever it takes to understand, overstand, and understand that spiritual world that great divine is showing all of us right now. And Mama Nature is right on in there with it. Because as I love to say, great divine is the masculine energy. Mama Nature is the feminine energy. And we need both in balance and harmony, not confusion or the mixing of the two in a dysfunctional way. Danger. That's why we got all this chaos out here. Evil entities taking something natural and trying to recycle it and sell it back to black folks and make it fake. That's why shit's not working out. And I actually got that from Paul Mooney. Rest in peace and in power. I always want to take what we have, recycle it, and say it's theirs and sell it right back to us. It's crazy how they take the concept of computer and many other things and literally sell it back to us, So, but we're gonna get into it. And I got 7 spellbreaker statements that I want to kind of get into how angels were bronze and how lies were told to us, and the depiction of an angel making it white and all that stuff was presented to us throughout the years to make themselves look like the lights of God. That's crazy when you try to, that's one thing I've said in the past. That's something I don't play with. I don't play with people's life. I don't play with my life. I don't play with that great divine. I would never try to be God. Just think of a person that thinks they're God. Just think of how that person, that the ego, you talking about jealousy, ego, narcissism. Now, that's the biggest narcissism play of all time. Those who manipulated that Bible to manipulate the mass, So it's coming back around though, because as I always say, great divine and Mama Nature will spank that ass at some point, because that's who has the say and has the power overall, hands down, facts. So when a great divine protects its generals, it don't play. It's coming. It's no entity, no money, no power, no politician. When great divine steps in, it's nothing no one can do but sit back and sit down and shut up and take it. Real talk, because let's get into the truth. Angels were bronze, and again, there's even white philosophers and white scientists that has come to this realization. Something has been covered up through the years. Like I said, some of these Christians, they need to start thinking for themselves, and we're going to read through this Bible, analyze it. And it says all through the Bible, bronze, 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 hair like wool, you know. And I'm just speaking from a philosophy point, not a religious standpoint, or because I know there's debates about if Jesus was black. I'm not even talking on that debate. I'm just speaking how the Bible, just about every person in there, if you really sift through that Bible and really break down some of those scriptures in there, a lot of them are talking about black people, not white. But in this, I don't want to say clever. It's they did a number on us. Just put it like that. They did a fucking number on black people. But a lot of that's coming to an end because, as my son and I discussed on a podcast, one of them, I think it was I forget which one it was, but a lot of churches are becoming empty. People are not really going to clubs like they used to. The strip clubs are empty. So, and all that is truth. Truth is setting in. People can't deny that truth anymore. A lot of us, so it's getting to the meat of it, with like the celeb shit and corrupt politicians, all that stuff. It's getting to the meat of a lot of things. Like I said, Great Divine and Mama Nature is not playing right now. It's drawing a line right down the middle, separating the wrong from the right. And Divine is tired, and so is Mama Nature. And a lot of generals out here. Salute. A lot of soldier angels are being deployed, whether we think it is or not. It really doesn't matter because the Great Divine is in control. I mean, come on now. And like I say, I put that Great Divine above everything and anything, as well as Mama Nature. As my son said, we think of the earth as a little speck, a little dot, so we don't run nothing. So just flow with the principles and be the best of ourselves and do our best to pass that righteous vibration onto other generals, because we always got to be in the business of building generals. That's what the Great Divine does. Trillion, billion, quadrillion, billion people. That Great Divine spirit has to pass through and work through, levels and different spirits and energies. Man, can you imagine? So if we think we have challenges here on this little speck we call Earth, put yourself in that Great Divine shoes, so to speak. Look what it has to deal with for infinity, from the beginning of time. I say this all the time. The different energies it has to see and deal with over and over and over. So those better respect that higher force, the real higher force, not this pleasurized God that this been manipulated by man. And again, the Bible was written by man, not God. So ponder that. So that's why you have to sit through that Bible and find the real truth. And the depiction of angels that are made today are lies. They were bronze, so, and you go again, the deeper we go down that divine rabbit hole, we'll come into this truth. And again, it's even Caucasian Europeans that has come to this conclusion, and but again, the best teachers and the deepest teachers I've ever learned from has been black. The most impactful teachers in my life have been black. That's the truth, sister and brother and some family, real talk. So I'm a black man. I will always speak for my blacks, and I don't care what color, melanin, still have melanin, whether we light, dark, light brown, dark brown, dark purple, black. It's all the same when it comes to that Great Divine melanin. We get closest to the sun. God is like the sun, the real God now, the one that keep us doing the right thing, not no pleasurized, using it like a light switch. No, Great Divine is like the sun. That's why angels were bronze. Ponder that. That's why they were bronze. That's why we can take the sun, the heat. We can stand it. Great Divine made us be able to withstand the sun for a reason. That's not an accident. And blacks were the first ones on the planet, thus Ethiopia. Now I have to do a little fact checking, but I think Ethiopia, it might have been a lot of other places in Africa, but Africa was the main spiritual. Africa was like spiritual headquarters, so to speak, in my opinion, my theory. Ethiopian being the first powerful place to transform. Well, that was the first place one of the first places that was invaded. I think it was in North Africa, Ethiopia. Now, if I'm wrong, forgive me. But I know Ethiopia was the first place that was invaded and manipulated with the Christianity and all that. But as time went on, a lot of people, especially now these days, a lot of melanated brothers and sisters started waking up and started seeing the truth, But decades upon decades of manipulation, that is a hard thing. It's like a decades of a spell that's just been over us for so dang on long, and it's so hard to come out from under it. And that's the way they planned it. But again, things like that are coming to an end. So that's why you got a lot of brothers and sisters out here waking up, because we are deploying. Now, this is my theory now. We are deploying our righteous ancestors, the ones who are warriors, ones who are generals, and they're manifesting in our brothers and sisters out here, whether you got a platform or not. I always got to put emphasis on that. Our bronze soldier angels are manifesting in us and have been watching over us for a long, long time. So, and like I say, and now I'm starting to realize why we have to have solitude sometimes, or a lot of times. This is why, because you think of those brothers and sisters and warriors, generals, back in the Kemet days, Egypt, aka Kemet, why they had a lot of quiet moments, a lot of quiet times and quiet rituals, righteous, quiet rituals, because that's that connection. Like my son said, Lord Lamont, that's that neural pathway to that great divine and mama nature, is when we're silent, we don't have a lot of things entering our psyche. That's that secret connection to that great divine. And I said that the secret connection to that great divine is not the things that everybody see, is the things that people don't see. And when you talk to that great divine, when we're not on social media, when we're by ourselves, that's that secret connection. And that's that secret that the soldiers and generals of Kemet knew. They knew that secret, But evil entities, evil Caucasians around them, they couldn't fathom that. How we were, where we were, what our power source was, how we were getting that power. To this day, they still really don't know. So, of course, that's when the Bible came in and Christianity and all that stuff. And they made up this pretend God and took things from Akashic records and all that stuff and flipped it and turned it. And that's where the judicial system stemmed from, the laws of the land and the 10 Commandments. And all. I mean, they did a number. They did. I mean, they went deep in on the manipulation game when it came to the Bible and Christianity, and they fucked us up. They really did. But it's gonna come back on them. Everything that they put in that Bible is literally backfiring on them. Real talk. And the truth is shining through. Because nothing, again, no one and nothing can outmaneuver the principles of that great divine and mama nature. Because again, when that great divine step in and mama nature, ain't nothing no one can do, So if you are light, you are righteous, brother or sister, general, salute yourself. And the great divine salute you. And it'll show you, in us, in action, in our life. Because when we righteous and we are general within, we'll be a general without. No doubt. Real talk. So divine protects its generals. And I always say, just do a little reflection. Think back of those divine fires, those impossible fires that a lot of us made it through. Those weren't coincidences, brothers and sisters. That was that great divine deploying its soldier angels, and it puts us around our kids. Why do you think I always say, call down that great protection from that great divine, for ourselves and from ourselves. I say that so much, because we got to be consistent on this spiritual power that great divine has entrusted us with. Gotta have that honor. And that's gonna be in the song in the hip hop break. Matter of fact, yep. It's called Honor, Respect, and Honor, and it's another song. I always gotta have a hip hop stimulation break, and so I guess I'll get to that. And I got 7 spellbreaker statements, and we're gonna dive in deep into bronze angels. And before I get to that though, I want to speak on the banner here and how there was a story in this movie. And again, salute to Michael Jai White. I wish he would make a Spine too. I think the movie was awesome. But and I wanted to show the part of the multiple spines, and he tricked the devil in this movie. Remember, we all seen the movie, but remember in the movie, the devil wanted him to lead his army. So he pretended like he was gonna do that because remember he wanted to watch over Wanda. Remember his girl in the movie, before of course a white man took his life in the movie, and tricked him, manipulated him, and he was cold. And so he was caught. What I get from the movie, I could be wrong, but what I get from the movie, he was caught in between heaven and hell, but he still he never lost his heart, but he was in between heaven and hell because he committed, murder on earth. So he had to kind of great divine held him accountable for that. So he was in the middle of heaven and hell, but he had a good heart and he was tricked, so he was manipulated and he did try to get out. So it's almost like, this is just my theory. It's almost like great divine still held forgiveness for him. That's what I got out of the movie, because he had a good heart. He wasn't an evil person on earth, but he was trapped in between the good part of himself and the bad part of himself. But the good part of himself overruled. So that's what I got out of that movie. And so he pretended like he was going to lead the devil's army. And because he did that so he could save Wanda up on earth and his child. So he went back and and of course the devil, the devil wanted him to take out that other dude that took him out. Because what people fail to realize, that doing that satanic shit and that demonic bullshit, the devil don't give a fuck about you. I don't give a damn. So that's another thing I got out of that movie. What the depiction I got on the banner here. And I'm going to get to why I chose the multiple spines. Because those are right there. I wanted to say those were soldier angels, but they were tainted. On the banner here, they were tainted. They were following Spine. They would have did anything Spine wanted to. They wouldn't have moved without Spine. Kind of like Malcolm X in the movie when he had all those people. When it showed that scene, I don't know how many people. It was at least 100. It was probably more than 100, and they all were like militant and nothing. They didn't move until Malcolm X moved. That's power, but righteous power though. So that's what I get from what's on the banner here and on the thumbnail. And they were waiting to be led by Spine. But remember when he took out the Caucasian dude that took him out. And, of course, he went to hell. Devil got him, got his soul. The white dude that was in the movie, which is fucking stupid. People who do evil commit evil acts or try to take somebody's life, especially of a righteous person. You don't kill. You might take away the body, but you can't do nothing to the spirit. That's why it's stupid to try to take somebody's life. So it's like Tupac. Tupac's spirit is still among us today. So people who did all that to him and all that, you wasted. The same with Malcolm X and many other, black activists and leaders. A lot of their spirits, bronze angels, soldier angels, is still among us today. You can't stop it, because only great divine can lay people to rest at the end of the day, So if great divine want a righteous spirit to live on, it's gonna live on, and it protects its generals all day, every day. So getting back to the movie. Now, these are angels on the banner, but tainted angels, so to speak, my theory. So when, Michael Jai White or Spine, took the white dude out and he saved Wanda and all that, and he killed that, and salute to, I forget the dude name that played the clown. He was hilarious. He ended up taking him out. And so when he went back and he tricked the devil, he took his powers. And sometimes, like I always like to say, the devil's a coward. It really is a coward. It's a parasite. It can't work without a host. So when Michael Jai White went back to the, I guess you could say it was hell, he went back to whatever it was. He looked around. Remember in the scene, and that's what I got on the thumbnail. Remember he was looking at all the other, the fake spines. He was the real spine, but not all the other fake ones, the multiple ones. That's why I got this on the banner too. And remember, they were all looking to him, and that was the army that the devil wanted him to lead, but he didn't do that. He did the opposite. Remember, the beams came out of his eyes, and he killed every last one of them because he knew that they were corrupt. They weren't trustworthy, so he killed them. So that means when he took them out, because they were tainted angels, and then the new angels can be born. So he took them all out, and that's how the movie ended. Even though in his darkest time, that's what I got out this movie, Spine, his heart was still a big part of him, so that's what I mean by, divine protects its generals, even through the mix of the fire, if we stick with it and don't give in to the toxic side of the world, we'll look back, as some of us have. We look back and always say, be glad we didn't do this. Be glad we didn't do that. And go above and beyond this human flesh. Please. I'm going to put that in the end screen. Because, man, that's something I'm learning. There is a spiritual world out there. We are cosmic beings. Especially melanated brothers and sisters. I mean, that's anyone that got melanin, because I've kind of went through the little list. Again, I have to do some more fact checking. See who has melanin. But again, I know Indians have melanin. And I know the different cultures and races have been changed around. But see, Mexicans, I think they have some melanin. Puerto Ricans, Latinos, Indians. I said Indians. That's all I can remember. But if you look at their skin, anybody with dark complexion, I'm talking about real dark complected skin or light skin, just a black DNA, we automatically have melanin, whether it's some, maybe it's a little or a lot, but melanin is more precious than gold when you think about it. And again, some black people just don't know how precious our melanin is. That's why we shine. That's why we glisten. Look at some of our sisters, how beautiful they can be. Look at their skin. I'm talking about any shade of color. And that's not by accident, brothers and sisters. And I'm going to get into some sisters, some golden era sisters that did something in the neighborhood. And I'm telling you, the beauty of melanin can't be stopped. Like Viola Fletcher, who was a survivor of Black Wall Street. Telling you the power of a sister. And she transitioned at 111. Think about that. That's dope, man. The power of melanin. And I'm sure she had the great divine deployed angels around her. Soldier angels. Then we get promoted to general angels, But there's levels to this thing, as we say, in our human life, in our, just our regular human body. Then we step over into the spiritual. There's more levels. The levels never stop until we what? Transition. As our most deepest philosophers will say, but there's many things to come. And a lot of us that have stepped into that truth and that divine power, we just getting started. Great divine and Mama Nature just getting started with us. We haven't even begun to see the power of melanin in us. That's why I say all through that Bible, if you really pay attention, it's bronze this, bronze that. I mean, really pay attention to some of those scriptures in there. It's all about black people. And it's like, it's about the power of black people and melanin. And it also exposes the narcissism and the envy and the jealous in them. If you really break that Bible down and read it, it's the empowerment of melanin people, and it's a toxic history on the toxic Caucasians in that Bible, if you really break it down. But I'll get back. And I remember I had a debate to a woman about a woman. I spoke on this. A woman that was that conditioning of that, and she was Caucasian, and she was dead set like there is this, there is that, and so you can't get like that. And that's how that Bible will have you. It'll have you forcing. It's okay to have different beliefs. We disagree to agree, but we can't force theories and beliefs onto each other. We both go deeper and find out, and find common ground, because that's what religion and Christianity and this Bible stuff, that's what it was set up for. Division, to have us arguing, going back and forth, and getting away from the real God and what it was meant to be in the first place. And it's getting back to that, that real great divine, not the pleasurized God, the God that keep us righteous, strong, and whole within. One that great divine has deployed. When divine deploys, it's soldier angels, and ain't nothing no one can do to stop it. Real talk, because again, divine always protects his generals. Even if a person just is not a deep spiritual person, if you right in your heart, the deep spiritual will come. All right. So again, I got 7 spellbreaker statements. I want to get into breaking down the bronze angels, and and just some statements that I want to get into deeper about how the divine protects his generals. How right now today we're seeing it. It's deploying soldier angels, bronze soldier angels, that is. All right, and I'm gonna get to this hip hop stimulation. See, I like my hip hop, so you always gonna hear me play hip hop. I gotta find it, and I this one song I played before. Let me see. Remember, I play songs for people who, and thank those who've been riding along. Appreciate you, and I don't take this for granted. Salute, and Lord Lamont thanks you also. Again, salute to my family, children, brothers and sisters in the world online. May that great divine make us all generals and see the truth. See through this bull out here. Go above and beyond, All right, let me see. Let's get to it. The first song is March On, like a soldier. Keep seeing that truth and stay out of the way of toxicity. And the next one is Honor and Respect. And I played that song before. And it's just a reminder, or for those who may not have heard it. All right. This song, the first song March On, might be new. I might not, it's not new, but see, I uploaded it a year ago, but I don't think I've ever played it on any of these podcasts. All right. Get everything in order. All right. Yep. And then those who have those warriors, generals, and soldiers that have stepped into that truth, keep marching on. Great divine got us. It has now deployed its bronze soldier angels. Be back after this.
Yeah, I'ma keep marching. Yeah, gotta keep marching, brothers and sisters. Yeah, gotta march on. Stay in one zone. Gotta be strong. Yeah, EBX. Yeah, gotta keep marching. I'ma keep marching. Gotta keep marching. I'ma march on. Yeah, we gotta stay strong. EBX. What I got right now, I've earned. A tool from the past, one has learned. Success, state of mind, a year, one yearn. I've been through the struggle, everybody get a turn. I came too far, can't stop now. I'm thinking that divine bad one is around. I'm taking up the torch while I stand my ground. I never ever quit, I always spit. I got that right, brother, yeah, to spit. You don't like the E, really don't give a shit. A new sheriff, yeah, a standing in town, a positive sound. I'm thinking that divine for the gift to throw down. Yeah. I'm marching on. Gotta stay strong.
I'ma keep marching.
Stay in one zone.
I'ma keep marching.
Study your brain and don't be no lame. There's too many MFs out here playing games. It's mostly adults and it's a damn shame. I'm thinking that divine for making me change, because I know one's power reaching that range. They've been through the pain and been through the rain. I'm sitting on the throne at the top of my game. True to oneself, and you can do the same. We gotta march on.
I'ma keep marching.
Gotta stay strong. Stay in one zone. Gotta keep marching. I'ma keep marching. We gotta keep marching. I'ma keep marching. Gotta march on. Stay in one zone. Brothers and sisters, gotta march on.
Gotta keep marching.
I'ma keep marching. Gotta keep marching. We gotta keep marching. I'ma keep marching. You keep marching. Gotta march on. Real talk. Salute to my generals, my family.
I'ma keep
Stay strong.
marching. Gotta keep
One.
marching. I'ma keep marching.
Real talk. Yeah, gotta keep marching. March on, brothers and sisters. But gotta have that honor and respect, for ourselves, brothers and sisters, And like I say, I listen to speakers too, but I mean, this is just in the world in general, but I be seeing comments and stuff, and we gotta look at the bigger picture, and don't get caught up in too many trends and all this crap going on out here and this P Diddy shit. We sift through it, analyze it, but stay focused on that divine righteous sparrow of life. That children, family, significant other, work our way out. Our personal lives, make sure we right. Before we throw stones at another person's house, check our own house. We might have glass in our house. Real talk. That's just the old saying. That's a OG saying. Brothers and sisters say back in the day. Don't cast a stone. You might have your own glass house. I think that's how it go. But honor and respect goes a long way, brothers and sisters. Honor great divine, honor mama nature. I'm telling you, just cling to the things that keep us. For one thing, positive energy is good for our immune system. For one, how we think in the pit of that soul, it all plays a part in our immune system, as well as rest, how we eat, and righteous perceptions, and not being petty, and not harboring anything evil within. I'm telling you, we'll flow through this life, flourish, and nothing can fuck with a divine soldier, general. I'm telling you. All right, but we got to have that honor. It's the most beautiful thing in the world. It's beautiful. Honor and respect. Be back after this. I played this before. Remember, it's just a reminder.
I say honor and respect is what we should display. Don't you say? Honor and respect goes a long way. Never be afraid. Listen to what I say. I see the things going on every day. And this is why I get it out and I lay. And the person for my brothers and my sisters, never missing what you got. Opportunities, never missing. Cause we do what we do, and we never will lose. Seeing clear, reawaken, never be confused. Righteous things in this life is what we choose. Never be down, we can make it, and we always be brand new. Honor and respect, gotta keep it in the heart. Fuck being a star. Good things is how we make it far. I say honor and respect go a long way. When you say honor and respect is what we should display. When you say it feels so good when brothers and sisters stick it together, any kind of weather, yeah, and to never let our love sever each other and stay true. I won't hate on you, cause I don't know in this life what you've been through. I get it out my soul, the only way that I can flow. I want my brothers and sisters in this world to just glow. Woo! You know why? Cause I got honor and respect goes a long way. When you say honor and respect is what we should display. When you say, I say honor and respect, it goes a long way. When you say, yeah, honor and respect is what we should display. Don't you say, when you say, every day, honor and respect is what we should display. Yeah, keep respect, always respect yourself and respect others, and others respect you. Stay true, my soldiers and soldierettes. Salute. Yeah.
Real talk. Honor and respect goes a long way, brothers and sisters. But those who are true sayers out there, deep thinkers, we know that, but I'm just conditioning folks, but we gotta, I always like to say, can't break a spell unless we know we're under one all day, every day, and for a long time, I think I was under a spell, and it's something to come to that realization. And I'm telling you, when you start going through them levels, oh my God, especially when when you get through the uncomfortable stuff, oh my God, you're like, man, I used to, and I reiterate how I used to be. I remember I told my son, Lord Lamont, this. I used to, let me see, I used to call women bees, hoes, and I was all about getting the phone numbers and just didn't know shit from shit. I'm telling you, you talking about lost. Danger, danger. I always call it willy-nilly, free flowing through life, no purpose or awareness. Danger, danger, danger. Live that, and I had like pockets, I'll say pockets of intelligence every now and then, because some things, like I said, some parts of our life, great divine protects because it has a purpose for us later on down the road. Because in my theory, again, great divine mama nature has known us from birth, and it knows the purpose we're going to choose. So what it does, it is, this is just my theory, that being places certain things in our path. Some things it places in our path, some things it removes from our path, and that could be person, place, thing, whatever that is, because it has to do certain things in order to deploy soldier angels, because it goes off. It's really a deep, complex thing, so because I don't want to come off like, it's a lot more learning and studying I got to do, but because I don't ever want to come off like I'm this, deep spirit. I mean, I consider myself pretty spiritual, but I don't want to put myself out there like I'm this deep spiritual person and I know all. But the things we come into, we do learn when we get serious with it now, and we go beyond this surface religion shit and really get deep into our spiritual selves. I'm telling you, some wonderful, wonderful things will come about. But there's certain things great divine is going to want to take out of us: ego, insecurity, jealousy. These are all human things. These are not spiritual things. What else? Confrontational spirit, side-eyeing everything. It teaches us to have principles, assessment, analyzation, observing, some absorption, but not everything. Great divine teaches this thing. Actually, it shows us these things through subtle things, maybe some aggression. Because that's another thing too, that not all Christians now, some Christians want to come out of. Great divine is not this little soft, little smooth, soft thing. It can be. Great divine and mama nature can be two of the most gentlest forces we'll ever experience, but also the most powerful man force we'll ever experience too. And that's what I was saying. Some Christians forget that. Excuse me for a minute. Gotta take a drink of coffee. Yeah. It's also great divine, as I say, don't play. We'll spank that ass, if you get out of line, so even if it take half your life, sooner or later, great divine gonna spank that ass, as well as mama nature, just how we say karma or whatever. You live long enough, as I always say, my grandmother used to say, may she rest in peace and in power. Keep living, buddy, especially if you're evil and rotten to the core. Oh, you gonna get it the worst. The longer it take, the worse it's gonna be, so that's for anybody. And no money or nothing is gonna help, because everything in this world comes from that great divine and mama nature. Even we come from it. So to think we're God or powerful or over anyone is fucking stupid and ridiculous. So just get your ass in line, do what we're supposed to do, and let that great divine develop us and make us powerful righteously. And it's in a healthy way. And we appreciate that power that much more better. Because when you're evil, when your foundation is evil and you're plotting, you got to look over your shoulder. And when you're living in a life of lies, you always got to look to fix your lie. And did you say that lie? And you forget what lie you told. Who wants to fucking live like that? Now, we as humans, brother, sister, male, female, we make mistakes and stuff like that. That's different. But intentionally lying and doing things, I mean, you talking about a prisoner, and you'll never get to your higher self that way, So again, one, not trying to act like I'm perfect, but I know what it's like to be lost and not have a purpose and not seeking to be better and explore new things and getting caught up in the same old routines every day, So one that's getting caught up in routines every day and something bothers you, go deeper into that. Because I feel that sometimes, sometimes you get life, you know what? I'm tired of this shit. Real talk. That's our deeper consciousness speaking to us. It's a deeper, especially melanated. And I'm telling you, It's something so powerful and deep in us that we can just tap into it. We can manifest some beautiful things in this life, and when we do connect to that great divine, like I said on the thumbnail in the title, when that divine deploys its soldier angels, ain't shit gonna be able to stop us. And then we become generals. And what did that great divine do? It protects its generals, whether they're here on the planet or they leave. Their spirit still protected. Ponder that. So, all right, I'm gonna get to these 7 spellbreaker statements. But before I get to that, I want to read something that I came across, because I'm always looking for something positive and uplifting, because we hear so many bad things about black people sometimes. And again, this is nothing against other races, and I'm not a hater. I don't hate. Matter of fact, Great Divine doesn't teach that. Doesn't teach hate. It teaches truth. If people take it as hate or something against Caucasians, that's on them. That's something within you. And we didn't develop that as black people. We didn't come up with slavery. It wasn't our fault we were slaves. We didn't make that happen. If those things would have never happened, and Kemet was never colonized, and all these corrupt things would be in harmony right now. They made it this way. We didn't make it that way. Some black people do have to take accountability, but again, even they had a spell cast on them. So the root of it all comes from evil entities, the Romans and then the Greeks down through the years, because the Greeks tried to copy the teachings of Kemet. If you go back down through history and do a little fact checking, that some of their same principles are similar to Akashic records, because that's what everything began. And how I came upon even learning about Akashic records, I say again, was Professor Griff. Because as I said many times, some of the greatest philosophers and the most impactful teachers I've learned from were black. That's brother, sister, and family. That's just the truth. People be scared of the truth. I'm no longer scared. I used to be kind of fearful of it too. But when you start seeing it and things start lining up, you're like, wait a minute. It's like I always use that example of many black leaders and Malcolm X. It's just a fire in us. We refuse to let any evil entity put it out. The truth is the truth, but it's not hate. It's the truth. It's the difference. All right, now I want to read about these older ladies. Well, I would say golden ladies, because I don't like to say old. Golden ladies I came across on social media. Okay, 4 women bought a DC building for $75K back in 1993. Let me see. 1983, my bad. 1983 is now worth over 1 million. Wow. And their 40-year story shows the power of cooperative ownership. That goes back to what Lord Lamont and I were speaking on, how jealousy and hate and ego tears down empires. Now just think, if me and Lord Lamont wasn't getting along and we was fighting against each other and debating, even though we don't have a huge platform, we wouldn't even have that. And I'm grateful for that, so, because one of my principles, as I love to say, is not how many views we get, is who's viewing. That's my thing. So salute to these ladies. And I'm going to read it again. Let me see. A $75K building bought by 4 women. These are sisters, and they up in age now. In 1983 is now worth over $1 million. Wow. And their 40-year story shows the power of cooperative ownership. Man, they stuck together. Man. And I'm telling you, if we as brothers, and could, like I said, I haven't kind of linked up with people in a long time, but if I was to link up with a brother or sister or a family, I would never. That'd be stupid, especially when we get up in age. Because I love to say, we all gonna get old one day. So what we do righteous in the present will ultimately benefit us in the future, hands down. And that's a prime example. So salute to those sisters, man. And that building will, help someone else, and they'll pass that legacy on. So, and that's beautiful. And that's the beauty of melanin right there. They tapped in, A lot of brothers and sisters out here tapped in, though. All right. Now, I want to give a salute to Mary J. Blige. And I know it's a lot of things out there and things we've heard about Mary J. Blige, but I like Mary J. Blige. When I speak on R&B and hip hop, her name comes up every now and then. And as I said in the past, Mary J. Blige got me through some hard times. When she was going through tough times, I was going through tough times. I remember I used to listen to her music. I always called her the female Al Green. But happy B-Day, and she turned 55, I think, yesterday. The queen of hip-hop, and so salute. And she looked beautiful on this picture. You know, may Great Divine just be in her life. May she keep peace and wholeness. I don't care what's been said about her. You know, we all done had some kind of trauma or something happen to us in our life, you know, but may she be protected and find peace, you know. All right, so because she looked beautiful in this picture, and she's melanin, you know, and she can sing, she really can. So and she ain't one of those, you know. Again, she might have went through things in the industry, but she really can sing, and she does have talent. I just want to make that clear, because you do got some that get pushed to the limelight and don't have a lick of talent, real talk. So, but she does. So salute to Mary J. Blige, and I spoke on her on past like R&B heavy hitters and hip hop heavy hitters, those little podcasts I be doing. Her name is in some of those lists. So, all right, so salute to her. She 55 and she looked like she 40. Real talk. You know, if you take care of the black, it won't crack. That's another beautiful part about melanin. You know, and that's why we can take the sun. Real talk. Think about that. All right, let's go. Let me see. Next on the list is Michael Jackson. And I've never had believed that Michael Jackson messed with any kids. I don't give a fuck what anybody say. I don't believe that shit. And I'm not going to believe it. And again, that goes back to what they do. You know, anybody and we know why they did what they did to Michael. Soon as Michael wanted to own Sony, all that shit started happening to him. Real talk. But it's a picture of him and Akon. Salute to Akon. And I know Akon has some challenges in Africa, but he has done some good things over there, you know. So may Great Divine protect. May that Great Divine deploy soldier angels around the sisters I just read about the building they bought. Mary J. Blige, Michael Jackson, rest in peace and in power. And Akon, you know, may that Great Divine place its soldier angels around him and, you know, keep him whole and keep him. I think Akon a good dude. He has some good advice on finances. And he sidestepped what his wife tried to do to him, I heard. And so he's a smart brother when it comes to them finances. So may the Great Divine protect him in his endeavors in Africa. But I want to read something. It's a picture of him and Michael Jackson together. Okay. And I've done podcasts on Michael. And I've heard people say stuff about him in videos. I'm not going to let that discourage me. I'm not going to be like everybody else. He had, in his pigmentation, it's a matter of fact, I'm going to read that. And he didn't mess with no fucking kids. I don't care what nobody say. Michael was a kid himself. He never got a chance to live his childhood. You know, that's kind of like why he did things for kids and stuff. So I don't believe that shit, not listening to it. All right. If a person ain't got no real facts, what in his life, shut the fuck up. Real talk. I just get tired of our black people getting dumped on. Ones that don't deserve it, you know. Akon on Michael Jackson. Akon on Michael Jackson. I want to make it clear. This is what this person said also. Let me see. I want to make it clear that Michael Jackson was never into little kids and he never changed his color. He just had, let me see, I can't say it. Vitiligo is Vitiligo. I can't say it. All the negative stuff y'all saw about Michael Jackson was made up. Michael was just an artist. He was a blessing to humanity, and he was. I didn't believe none of that. I never did. Even when it first came out, I felt like I was the only one in the world that didn't believe that shit. So, and he's an angel. He's out here, and his spirit still. They didn't. Again, you can take away the body, but you can't do nothing to the spirit. I'm sorry. You know, his spirit is still among us, and he's still one of the top singers, artists of all time. He's still dominating, like Tupac. Tupac still dominating. As I read recently, a few days ago, Tupac, was it 26 million listeners are still listening to Tupac on Spotify, and he's dominating a lot of other artists. So think about that, you know. All right, and there's other artists too that's not just Pac. I know we always talk about Pac, but there are other artists too, you know, that spirits that are manifested out here, you know. All right, so let's get into the angels, you know, because that's why I got this on the banner, so to speak. But we're going to look at the angels that's on the banner here as warriors, generals, you know. Spawn destroyed the the evil angels, and he manifested the righteous angels. So we gonna say that's what that is on the banner here. Because remember, he tricked the devil. He killed all those army, the whole army, the devil's army. Actually, he killed all those. Remember, he killed all the devil's army. He tricked them. He used the same powers that he got, because the powers he got was from that great divine. He just had to figure out what to use them for. So that's what I get out of this movie too. He just had to figure out what to use his powers for. He didn't take his power for granted in the movie. If you pay attention, and he only used it for what it was needed for. And he actually, even though he was in the middle of heaven and hell in his darkest time, he still saved the planet Earth. That's awesome. And I'm glad Michael Jai White played that part. I'm glad I've never seen him in no compromising positions in movies or life in general. I've never seen Michael Jai White in that light. He's always been a strong, upright, melanated brother, so he definitely got soldier angels in his corner. Real talk. So, all right, so let's get into the deeper meaning of angels. Not that we don't know what angels are, but we're going to dive in deep and even go deeper into why divine protects its generals. Once we are angels, we are promoted to generals. All right, so let's go. Leaders and teachers with a student spirit. Divine deploys its angels constantly to protect, guide, and serve its knowers. Not just believe. No, we got to know thyself. As a promise in which says that being gives its angels charge over us to guard us in all our ways, with specific instances, and showing the angels' intervention in Old and New Testaments. Remember, we got to sift through that Bible. Remember, they're really talking about bronze angels, such as freeing ourselves from prison in our mind, and knowing the knowers are encouraged to talk to that great divine, to send. The angels talk to that great divine. It transmits to us, but through that great divine to us, recognizing, soldier angels as ministering spirits that are always ready to act on that great divine's behalf, sometimes in ways we don't perceive or understand, overstand, or understand. We're not supposed to. It's a cosmic world out there. We have to seek it, sometimes. And something I noticed when we do start seeking truth and knowledge, and we do begin to get downloads. Some of us get it randomly, some of us get it slow. Everybody's journey different. That's another thing we have to learn on this walk. That's something Lord Lamont and myself came to terms to. We came to that. Everyone has to walk their journey. Some can be taught, some learn, some don't. It's unfortunate, but there are a lot of soldier angels out here, that's manifesting in generals, brother, sister, family. And it's beautiful to feel and see that wonderful see, hear, and feel, mind, body, and soul, in that wonderful psyche, which is the battlefield where the angels reside. That battlefield, that's where they really fight, in the pit of our soul. That's where our battles are fought. Things that no one else sees, that we have deep within. It ain't always got to be bad. It can be good. But we got to get through that human part of us, because the human flesh, oh my God, man, let me tell you. And I was meditating yesterday. A thought came to me, and I asked Divine. I said, Divine, why do I get desires? Like, maybe like desire for a woman, and because when you're single, you get desires. Your body is going to want to feed. And I noticed this. It's like and I'm kind of speaking on the male or brothers, melanated men. We have kind of like a biological clock too. And, especially if like you used to have challenges with lusting or something like that. Now we conquer it, but the body still wants to feed. And I figured that out. And I was like, great divine, why do I get these desires? Not nothing bad and like that, just a normal, desire. You see a beautiful sister and you're like, ooh, and it passes through your body or your mind. And I asked that divine, I said, Divine, why do I get maybe sometimes sexual desires for an attractive sister, and it said, and divine spoke to me and said, because your body is wanting to feed, it's used to you feeding off your desires, so it wants to feed. So that's why you get them. Sometimes it's a lot of times it's not our thoughts, it's our body. It wants to feed, so we have to starve it. We have to let it kind of go through that biological process, so to speak. So I was like, wow. So that's why it's good to go in solitude, man. Even the most uncomfortable, weird things, great divine will make us reason with ourselves, as I heard from a great brother. And I was like, wow, that makes sense. Because I talked to that divine. Why do I get these desires? What is this shit? Where is it coming from? So, I don't mean to curse, but, you got to get serious. Ask that great divine, and it'll drop an answer in our spirit. And that's what the answer that great divine gave me, is that my body wants to feed. It's not me per se, it's my body. So that's why I said conquer the human flesh. And I was like, oh, okay. Because when we're single, you have to be, like I said, being by ourselves. I know everybody says the power of being alone and all that, but you also got to look at the challenging part now, because your body gonna want to feed. It ain't just lust. It could be money, it could be attention, because we have to watch that. I'll call it the spirit of desperation and impulses. That's when their life is pivotal. When that desire comes in your mind, you have to ask yourself, pinpoint it. Like, that's what I did. And that's what Great Divine said. Our body wants to feed. So pause for a minute. Think. Don't just act or have an impulse off that desire. Because, as I like to say, we can do one small, itty bitty little thing that'll F up our whole life, just from that one little choice. So that's what it is. My body wants to feed. So I don't act to it. And you think back again, have a little revelation, do a little introspection, and think of all the toxic impulses. Well, some of us, I'm kind of speaking for myself, can't speak for everybody else. Just think of the impulses we made in the past. You be like, oh man, I remember when I did this. Ooh, I ain't gonna do that. So then we fast forward to the future. Like, yeah, now usually when I felt like this, I usually make a wrong choice or an impulse. So I'm like, but it takes practice, and we do it over time, and we have to let that biological clock pass, so to speak. So I've learned this, because we have to, not wait forever, but, it's just our body. And another thing that Great Divine told me is my body is yearning for like feminine companionship too, because when you're single, you kind of yearn for companionship, whether it's romantic or just, friendship. Your body yearns, because it yearns what it's used to. So, man, it's just wonderful to figure these things out about oneself, and to help us to stay focused and stay on that righteous path. So I just wanted to share that, our body it yearns for things it's used to. So that's the answer Great Divine dropped in one spirit. And it was an aha moment. I was like, wow, that makes so much sense. So, but also Great Divine to tell us, but it'll say, wait, my son, or wait, my daughter. That's just my own saying. That's what I'm hearing, because that's how, or my soldier or my general, and if you, it's like Great Divine tells us, if you would just stay steadfast and just be patient, I will show you what you need, not what you want. So that's what I did. Again, this is my thing. I'm sure people have had these experiences. Whenever we have some kind of desire or something, it just don't feel right in us, pinpoint it, see where the hell it's coming from. Because again, folks, with all this social media and these different frequencies, sometimes I don't know. It just, even when we're not, a friend of mine, an employee I was talking to on a job, we were talking about this. It's like, I don't know. It's like it steals our thoughts and try to replace it with other ones. I don't know. It's weird, but again, just pinpoint things so we can stay. Because the Great Divine Mama Nature needs us healthy, mind, body, and soul, so we can carry out the purpose. Because I love to say, we as humans, we don't know what's coming down the road. But that Great Divine Mama Nature always knows. So that's why we talk to that spirit and we meditate. That's the real reason we meditate. So we can stay in tune as brothers, sisters, family, generals, in touch with our spirit and stay whole and stay focused and keep great divine things downloading into our pineal gland. All right. I just wanted to share that because great divine is like the sun, you know. That's why melanated people, we attract. I'm gonna get into that, you know, the power of melanation. But let's get into it. Leaders and teachers with a student spirit. I just wanted to share that. Well, we ride along with each other. Remember, we are not followers. All right, 7 spell breaker statements. Spell breaker statement number 1: angels were bronze, not pale-faced or European. Even says it in the Bible. It's all over the Bible. But people are so, instead of going deep and really trying to teach oneself, you know, because some people, they feel good that day, and then they feel good on Sunday, but they the devil all week. We've all heard that saying. So that's why we go deep and really get to the thick and the meat of that Bible and see the real truths in there. Angels were depicted as bronze. They were displayed as white, but depicted as bronze. If you go deeper into that Bible. So, man, when divine deploys, it's bronze. Soldier angels can't be stopped. All right, get to know our truth. And again, even got scientists and white philosophers that has come to terms with that. You know, there ain't no kumbaya shit. That's just the truth. You know, it can't be hid anymore. It's out there. All right, number 2 spell breaker statement: man wrote the Bible, not God. What does God need a Bible for? The real God now, not the pleasurized one, the righteous one, the ones that keep us a general doing right. What does God need a Bible for? You know, it's in our spirit. We know right from wrong. We know what to do, you know. So man wrote that Bible, not God. So we go off our righteous spirit, life, experiences, divine principles. We'll see what we need, and the righteous ones will come, as well as Mother Nature. All right, spellbreaker statement number 3. Entities tried to destroy the power of melanin, but it didn't work. And again, I think one of the places they invaded was Ethiopia. Any part of North Africa. I don't know if I had to look it up. I don't know if Ethiopia's, because it's still things I got to study about Africa. So forgive me if I say things wrong or they're not correct. But I know Ethiopia was one of the first places that was invaded. And but nowadays, a lot of people are turning it differently. People see that truth, and they did get overturned in years to come. So, yep, evil entities tried to destroy the power of melanin, but couldn't do it. They couldn't erase it, so what they did was told lies and manipulated the world. And all cultures were manipulated. It wasn't just black. All cultures were manipulated. All cultures and races were manipulated. All, not some, all. So, and there is only one great divine. All these religions and all these labels, it's not about labels, brothers and sisters. It's one spiritual being and one mama nature. Period. Facts. All right, let's move over. Spellbreaker statement number 4. Melanin can conduct energy and channel downloads through our pineal gland. That's why they're jealous, or the evil entities are. I'm not talking about the common white folk that just living their life. I'm talking about evil entities that trying to play God and run the world. And you know, that's why a lot of these celebrities are puppets, you know, because they gave in, you know, to the glitz and the glamour and the fame and all that shit. And look at a lot of them now. I'm telling you, the devil don't give a shit about you. It's stupid. It really is dumb. But again, melanin conducts energy, and that's why we can take the sun. Think about that. Great divine. That's why I always say great divine is like the sun. No one will never see the full glory of that great divine power, because it would melt our face. We would have a heart attack on the spot. That's why I say great divine is like the sun. But melanin, brothers and sisters, we can, or anyone that got melanin in them, we can take the sun. We can get the closest to it. That's why we get the most downloads. That's why we can do the most amazing things, and you know, spiritual, athletic, physical. Great divine just gave melanated people those gifts: dance, sing naturally. You know, again, that's why it goes back to great divine didn't write no book. It's in our essence, as I heard Eddie Griffin say. It's in our essence. It's wrote in our essence. If we want to say there's a Bible, black people, we are the Bible. Our life is the Bible. Real talk. Look at some of our black hysterians, hysterians back in the day. Look at the things they did way before social media. Ponder that. So we are the Bible, not some book and pages. It's in our essence. Again, I remember hearing that from Eddie Griffin. Yep. So again, we conduct energy, divine righteous energy, any kind of energy, toxic energy. That's why we're able to discern things. That's why we automatically have discernment, even when we're not aware of it, even when we don't even know what it is. We feel it. Some of us even felt it as a child, even when we didn't understand it. But then later on, we look back like, oh, those aha moments. It's beautiful. We come into that truth. Again, melanin can conduct energy, and we can channel downloads through our pineal gland like it's nothing. Like Neo in Matrix, when he was hooked up to that chair, that's us all day long. And that's a depiction of us. Just about all these things in this movie, everything they show, it's all a parody of melanated brothers and sisters. The concept of computer, the superhero movies, all that shit is us. They just give it a white face. Real talk, facts. All right, let's move on over to Spellbreaker statement number 5. Blacks weren't allowed to read or break down the Bible. Blacks weren't allowed to read or break down the Bible. Was forced to submit to the manipulation of the Bible and religion. Thus, Ethiopia. From beginning, decades upon decades ago, and like I said, they did a number on us, and it's been one heck of a battle breaking brothers and sisters, melanated people out, breaking that spell that's been cast over us for so many fucking years, man. Because again, I was under a spell. How I used to think is wild, and again, it's not about being better than no one, maybe just different, because everyone has their own journey, but you have to come into that truth, the realization that Bible shit was plagiarized and made to manipulate, divide, and conquer. As I know that's an old cliche, divide and conquer. So again, blacks weren't allowed to even read or even break down the Bible or any book for that matter. Wasn't made to ask questions, kind of like it is today in some areas of life. We're forced, we're forced to submit to the manipulation of religion. Serve thy master. They whoop your ass with that whip, and was made to forgive them. That's what the docileness came in. Made a lot of us docile and accepting, turn the other cheek and all that bullshit. No. So what's right is right, what's wrong is wrong, period. So principles of that great divine. And as I said, great divine ain't this soft thing. It's also powerful. Great divine and mama nature will spank that ass if need be. But it's also, again, one of the most gentlest forces we'll ever come to know. It just depends on us, how we are as an individual, because depending on how we are, great divine and mother nature will treat us accordingly. All right, Spellbreaker statement. Then just ponder that, how we weren't even allowed to read, where lies were taken. If we were caught reading, that shit is unreal to me. Crazy. That's how much control they wanted. That's how jealous they was of melanated brothers and sisters. All right. Spellbreaker statement number 6. Everything they've been telling us has all been a lie. Christians need to wake their ass up. God's angels were bronze, the real God, not white. Every white scientist, not white. Even white scientists can't shake this truth. It's out there now. Again, we got white philosophers that's speaking on this shit, how they've been lying to us, and they put themselves in high places. They say evil entities, wickedness in high places, that's them. And it's in the Bible. They literally telling themselves in the Bible, literally. It's like guilt or some shit, but they project it onto the reader. It's their guilt, but they project it on to the reader. Think about that for a moment. So again, and that when they say wickedness in high places, that's evil Caucasians. That's them. It is what it is. People don't like to hear shit like that. But the truth is the truth. See, yep, again, they put themselves in high places. Not ordained. They weren't ordained. No, they manipulated and put themselves in a godly position. Think about that. That's like the ultimate narcissism, real talk. So, but the tires are shifting. That's changing. And I forget the brother's name. It's a lot of brothers though and sisters waking up over there in Africa. They really are. And I'm thankful for that. And again, I've never been to Africa, but I've always went to bat for Africa. I love Africa. Again, when I used to see those, the kids and all that stuff and how they used to show them back in the day, it made me feel, that made me want to go to Africa. It inspired me. I've been loving Africa ever since. I used to feel sorry for them kids, stuff they used to show and all that, so I will always stand with Africa. Had never been over there a day in my life, but I love it. I will always carry the spirit of it. I even got a medallion I have on my necklace. I wear it. I wear it like people wear these crosses. You'll see it in some pictures and some videos. I always got it on. Anybody tell you that know me, I always got that African necklace on. And it's another necklace I wear that I bought from a melanated brother. He was in a wheelchair. And I haven't seen him in a while. I can't remember what his name was, but me and the kids and my son's Ethan, his mom and his sibling, we went to the grocery store one time, and a brother was out in front of the store and he was selling necklaces. And he sold me this necklace. It was only like $20. And we had a good conversation. We was talking about deep stuff and spirituality, kind of like what we're speaking on now. And I sometimes angels can come in people. Real talk. I even got a divine daughter. Her name is Angel, which is unique. And he sold me this necklace, $20, and he told me it protects you from evil spirits. And which is funny, and it's like a stone or something like that. And not saying that, because sometimes we have things in us that we just have to fight. Either we're aware of it or we're not. Now, something that's funny, I remember one time I was hugging my son Ethan's mom. Now, I'm not saying that she carries evil spirits, but, she has some things in her that she's going to have to work out. That's the truth. We gotta know the truth within ourselves, or we're going to be stuck, stagnant, imprisonment, and prisoners in our own mind. But when she went to hug me, the little pebble I had on my the necklace, it's like a rock or something. It's a unique kind of rock, it's smooth, and it kind of poked her in the chest. I thought that was kind of weird, and she couldn't even hug me the whole way, because I ain't gonna, I'm not into tearing people down or talking down on people, but she's had some things. There's some things that she gonna have to deal with. Let's just put it like that. Just like I did. We all have to go through that journey. We can't deny the things that's wrong within us. So I'm saying that to say she has challenges within herself. She's going to have to deal with, or they're going to deal with her. Facts. So I don't know if I don't do coincidences. So I went to hug her. The boulder, it kind of, poked her a little bit. She's like, ow, that necklace you got on stabbed me. And I was thinking to myself, I remember he told me that. He said it protects you from evil spirits. So not that in the moment she wasn't being evil, but she's done things in the past, and I don't know what she was harboring within her that self. Not saying that she was, but this is just an example. So, but I remember buying that from that brother, and it reminded me, like, sometimes Great Divine will just place angels, sometimes in spirit or sometimes in people. Real talk. And like I said, Divine protects its generals, so I just wanted to share that. And if a person got an evil spirit in them, it ain't my fault, so that's on them. Again, everybody has a choice, and I went through the layers. Everyone has to go through that filtering process. There's no getting around it. We have to be true to oneself. Can't deny little idiosyncrasies, as I heard from my great brother. I can't even say it right. Idiosyncrasies that we have within, we have to deal with them, so we can see a deeper cosmic spiritual world and be the powerful beings that Great Divine has called melanated brothers and sisters to be. Real talk. And that's brother, sister, family, spell breakers in the world, online. All right, let's get to this last spell breaker statement. 7. All right, there is only one Great Divine. 2, there's only one force, one being. Divine is not a religion or label. It's the most powerful being we'll ever experience in this life, as well as Mama Nature, So I don't care how many religions is out there, Buddha, and again, I respect people's religions now, but just make sure, because I know, we all have to come up through different journeys, but again, in my theory, Great Divine is not about labels. It's not about religions. I know we have different titles and stuff like that, but we better be listening to that right divine voice. There's only one. Again, we all come through different ways, but we got to be a part of that same righteous tree, brothers and sisters. Because saying one person is this and one person is that, and you're not this and I'm that just causes division. Danger. So we at least got to be balanced spiritually. Find common ground and fight against the real enemy. But it's happening, more or less. It's happening. A lot of us see it. So be thankful for the generals and the warriors out here who are standing up for that truth, like the banner here, who is no longer toxic individuals, the righteous soldier angel. So that's what's on the banner here. That's my depiction of a righteous angel right here, ready, standing firm, ready to fight ready to fight any evil entities that try to stand in our way, and I remember hearing this. It was in a movie actually, and I said this before. Any evil entity or toxic person, place, or thing that stands in the way of righteousness, thou shalt have no fear. Real talk. So when a person is righteous, I always say a righteous warrior, general, or soldier has a right to defend themselves, hands down. That's why I say Great Divine does protect its generals, even when the body lay to rest. It doesn't matter. That's why I say it's stupid to try to take out a leader, whatever. It's gonna come back on you tenfold. Yeah, you might be doing good for the moment. I'm talking about people in high places. You might think you're doing all right, but you don't know. You don't know what's on that other side. But guess what? A lot of melanated brothers and sisters and deep thinkers, those who are truly connected to that divine spirit within, we got a hankling of what's on that other side. And as I heard a great brother say, let's have a smooth, easy transition, and leave a righteous impact, as Lord Lamont said, and be known for the powerful, righteous things that we did when we left this planet, that we tried to make it better than it was than when we came in it. And a lot of us are doing that. So thank those for coming in to another EBX, the Lord Lamont Show, thus EBX discussion. And this was in my spirit. And I thank that Great Divine for being in Lord Lamont, my children, and protecting us, my family, brothers and sisters, the angels, the warriors, soldier angels that's in the world, online, and in our families, man. That's in spirit and physical. That's keeping that righteous fortress up, and but also intertwining happy, joy, and fun, because that's a part of balance too. But when it's time to stand on business, we're ready. But always gotta throw that in there. Brothers and sisters, fellow spell breakers, have fun too. Through the mix of paying attention to the toxic things in this world and being deep and consistent in this divine life, But a lot of us are there, Fun and joy won't take us off, our course. We've been on it too long. A lot of us, we know what it is, So stay up, stay thankful, brothers and sisters, and stay learning, stay seeking, and listen to righteous speakers out here, whether they got a platform or not, and give honor. And I give honor to that Great Divine, Mama Nature, my family, my children, spell breakers, brothers and sisters in the world online, those who ride along with me and Lord Lamont. We appreciate you and we salute you, and I'm going to salute you divine warriors on to your divine life. And when that Great Divine deploy, its bronze soldier angels can't be stopped, or angels in general can't be stopped. Remember, it could be a spiritual angel. It could come through a person, place, thing. If we're in a place of awareness and the pineal gland open, we'll see those cosmic, powerful things can be right in front of us. Again, any unwanted desires in us, pinpoint it. Talk to that Great Divine. so we can be the powerful beings Great Divine has called us to be. Because sometimes this human flesh can stand in the way. Real talk. And I heard a philosopher say, what stands in the way becomes the way, brothers and sisters. So have nothing in our mix, subtle or aggressive, so we can be the angels and the warriors and the generals the Great Divine has called us to be. Because as we have seen in our past, in the fires we have blazed through, man, Great Divine always protects the generals. Salute. Or should I say, it's generals. This is brought to you by Mama Nature and that Great Divine. So y'all stay connected to that powerful force. Salute.